Hello, my name is Joey Ware. I'm a staff TAM here at VMware. And today we're going to go over the processes to deploy a cloud gateway. Let's say if you're moving to vSphere Plus, vSAN Plus, you need to have a gateway that will communicate back and forth uh, from your environment up. Let me share my screen. In this case, if you follow this KB article, and it's KB 82117, you had to create a cloud services organization. And in my case, I have tons of them being a VMware employee, but I also have a TAM Lab one and a internal one I'm just testing out. Places may have multiple organizations, and there's whole stipulations there, reasons why. The best way to get started is also right here. Access Skyline, get started. And if you're a Skyline customer, you probably have or you should have a cloud services organization. So I'm going to go ahead and just walk through this process. So in this case, my CSTAM lab and my home lab, but I want to go ahead and create another one. Or in this case, you're logged, and I'm also already logged in to the VMware portal. If it's your first time, it'll probably not have anything. It'll just say, hey, start the process to create. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through this, add another one. And I want to create one. JWare test org. I agree. Let's create it. Take a little bit of time. All right. We're going to continue. Now, I shouldn't have any accounts to link. That's fine. I think you can skip this. Oh, this is for Skyline. So yes, we're going to skip this. We're going to go back. I'm going to view my organization, my JWare test. In that case, I couldn't create Skyline because I don't have any licenses and with production support entitled to that account. So yeah, so we created the org. Obviously, here's some roles. In this case, I want to go back to services, recommended, or all, and if you are wanting to test out the vSAN Plus and get an idea of what that portal, that console looks like, you can do that as a test. But if you do not have any subscription licenses also entitled to you, there's some benefits that you won't get. So let's go ahead and let's go do a search for services here. vSphere Plus. There it is. vSphere Plus, vSAN Plus, VCF Plus. I'm going to access. I'm going to add the service to another org. Obviously, not that one, because that one already has one. My test org. Continue. Pause this. Okay, now that that's finished setting up, we're going to go to vSphere Plus, learn more. Obviously, the whole reason vSphere Plus is kind of coming around is we have customers that have vSphere instances on AWS, AWS Outpost. If you have a Cloud Foundation or Cloud Foundation Plus, which is like the subscription based as well. or the Google Cloud VMware engine, you need a console that you can see all of them, all your vCenters, right? You see your environment, your host and everything. So this is the console going forward on how to do that. And then on the left-hand side, you get the launch pad, which is this inventory, which is if you'd see all your vCenters, then you can drill down to your host and your VMs. If you have subscription licenses entitled to you, you would be able to see them here and see how many licenses per vCenter or per environment that are being used, or vSphere licenses, and go that path. And then some other infrastructure operations, desired state, virtual machines. But for now, we are going to go to the vSphere Plus. I'm going to do learn more. I'm going to start the trial. And this then should give us the ability to download the cloud gateway. I'm going to do my test org. I'm going to add it to the other org. Oh, I'm sorry. I chose the wrong one. Go. Oh. Let me go back. Sorry, proceed to service. I hit add service to another org. Proceed to service on that one. Okay. Let me go back, learn more. Okay, start doing that. Go to inventory. That's fine. There's no gateways. Okay. So after you start the trial, you want to go to infrastructure operations, connect on-premises deployments, and then this is where it'll allow you to download the cloud gateway. And as you will see, the cloud gateway is a beefy appliance. Think of it as another vCenter. So it is a photon-based appliance. It does not manage it does not manage, I apologize, the vCenters and all that stuff inside of it, except for when we start talking about the maintenance operations. If you got a new vCenter or VCF environment, you can go through and process all that. So I may have blanked out some of that. I may have cut the timestamp here, the video, just to kind of hide some of our internal stuff. But download it now. It is 3.4 gig. It's going to take me about 2 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video and come back. Okay, I'm going to share my screen entirely because we are going to launch the ISO. Okay, so yeah, the ISO has been downloaded. We're going to launch it. And in my case here, you'll see my vCenter. I already had a cloud gateway appliance, so I'm going to power that down, or as I did. As if you need with almost any appliance from VMware, especially the vCenter appliance, you need your DNS correctly set up. When I initially deployed this, I did not create the DNS. I just reserved an IP address. In this case, let me remember what I even did. Okay, 130. So whatever your DNS IPAM environment is, you need to set up both the forward and the reverse, just so that it'll go through. Initially, when I did not do that, it actually failed, and it told me that the DNS was not created. So, all right, so let's go ahead and launch this. So we're doing the UI installer. I'm on Windows 32-bit and looking for the installer exe. My eyes always go look for setup.exe, so I just need to train myself there. So, all right, at this point, we're going to deploy the VMware Cloud Gateway, the typical EULA environment. read it if you need to. Since I've already launched this, my environment is kind of already started typed in here. So my password, yes. Accept the thumbprint. There is my vCenter. Where am I going to put this? Well, in this case, I'm going to put it under management. It is a management type appliance. If you have a management cluster, in my case, my standalone host is my management cluster. This would be a good place to put it. I'm going to call this test because I already have one, but in your environment, you can leave that whatever you want. Type in whatever root password you want. Next, data store. I only have one. I am definitely going to do thin print. I think I may have passed already, but you're going to see how much resources this needs. So in this case, I'm going to put it on VLAN 1. Yes, all that's already in there just because I typed it before. So there's all my information, right? And put in your NTP server, or if you want to synchronize with ESX host, I always go external. If I go back, I think there is a KB article that talks about this, but it wants 12 CPUs and I think 24 gig of RAM or 30 as a active swap or whatever. So I'm set to 12 and 30. We'll see what this deploys as by default. But yeah, and this is pretty much all it started using. I've had this up and running for about 2 weeks. So about almost 50 gig of storage space, even though it's thin provisioned. And there you go. So we'll let this go. And you just saw the task, DNS resolve tasks. That's the one that I failed on, obviously. It stopped right away. So if you do know your DNS set up correctly, it will tell you. All right, so now it's going to import. I'm going to pause the video and let that do it because my environment is not going to be the fastest. Okay, at this point, the second of my gateways is installed, is imported and running, configured. You see it's right here. It's this one. So by default, yeah, it's 8 and 28. So there you go. And almost 50 gig of space. There's a KB article that explains all that, so maybe I'll find it and post it with this. But now I'm going to go ahead and launch it. I think if you ever did like a vCenter deployment and stage 2 is now launching and configuring, and this is what we're doing at this point. So, all right, now we're going to connect it to the VMware Cloud portal. So we're going to connect. This is the password you created when you were deploying the gateway. It's going to go through all the processes here. Okay, and as you can see, it gives you a code, and if you kind of move around it gives you actual. If you click it, it makes a copy. This is a one-time password. Launch the VMware Cloud portal. Scroll down. I'm going to put in my test org. Put in the code. Submit. And let it finish setting up. At this point, it's either it's updating or finished setting up. So I will pause again. We are almost finished updating the appliance. And as it says, this step may take a few minutes. I did pause the video for about 5-6 minutes. Or at least it felt like it to me. At this point, I can close this window. I can unmount with ISO. We'll go back to just sharing my normal window screen. Doing that, I'll just kind of show you what the console looks like. Looks very familiar, doesn't it? As a BAMI, it looks just like a vCenter appliance. Completed. I don't think there's anything else I need to do. We'll see. Log back in. Okay. So basically step 2 now. And in this case, I only have a vCenter server. I do not have VCF. I add my vCenters. Don't think this is going to cause a problem. Validating the thumbprint. Making sure I can log in. All right, here we go. That's my vCenter. I acknowledge it's connected. If you have multiple vCenters, this is where you can go and add. I think it's 8. Oh, all right. So yeah, this is the error I was expecting. I already have it registered to another organization. So at this point, I'll have to go back and use the other one. But if you have multiple vCenters, this is where you can do it here. I think the limit is 8 per gateway, 8 vCenters per gateway. So you may have to deploy multiple gateways if you have a large environment. So let's go back. I don't think I need this window anymore. It's already timed out. That's timed out. Don't need the KVR. Cool. All right. I'm going to make sure I'm on the CS Lab. Okay. I'm going to launch the service for this one, the CS TAM Lab. And I need to power this one back on. So let's turn this one off. Give that a minute. Okay. It's off. I'm going to turn this one back on. Okay. This is the CS TAM Lab where my vCenter is already registered to. In this case, you can see mine is an on-prem vCenter, which is what we were finishing up. Basically, how much CPU I have across basically the 4 hosts, the memory, the storage, how many clusters, how many hosts, how many cores. This other one up here is a VCF environment that was set up to test from another VMware employee. But this kind of shows you the different environments you have. We are getting the alert probably because my cloud gateway is down. Oh, it's back up now. Let's see what that alert is. So if I click on my vCenter, vCenter Plus is currently unable to receive data from this vCenter due to a network issue. So it's still coming up, and you see it's unreachable. But it kind of gives you a overview of your environment, just like what we kind of saw a while ago, but how much of that CPU am I actually using? How much of that memory? How much of the storage? So let's kind of go through this while that is still booting up. I'm going to close that. Close up. We'll give it a minute. You can see the events. In this case, I shut down my home lab every night and power it back on. So here you're going to see, stuff that's come back on this morning, or actually when the cloud gateway probably just went up or down or whatever. So yeah, I see a lot of alarm statuses in your environment. Hopefully in production, you are not going to see as many alarms. But there you go. You can kind of filter, you want to see configuration alerts. I don't think I have any. We'll see. Storage, permission policies. That's probably because when I shut down my vSAN node cluster, it has to recreate these VCLS appliances. So yeah, you're going to see tons of those. Let's see. Security wise, permission was added. Yep. I go through. So again, if you have multiple vSANs across multiple VMware cloud environments, yeah, this will definitely come in handy. Let's see what auditing, just see if I really need to get in trouble here. All right, no auditing, good. Authentication, okay. All right, clear that. Compliance. So you can create a appliance or a profile, and then it will go through and tell you if it's compliant or not, and you can go through and check it. I will dive more into that later. I don't know if I really can go too far into it, being that I don't really have vSphere Plus. This is just a trial license. Maintenance. This is another thing I cannot test in my home lab because it basically wants to deploy. When you do a vCenter upgrade, most of the time you're going from like update 1 to update 2, 7 to 8. You will deploy a new temporary vCenter, and then it will go through the process of step 1, step 2, and it'll copy that over. Looks like you will be able to do that from this portal across all your vCenters, and it'll actually tell you. Let's see if I go to the other. We'll see on his. It's unreachable, but he's got a new 451 VCF update, and he can go through and update the vCenter this way. Let's see, cloud gateway is now saying it's connected. There's the vCenters still showing unreachable. Okay, so it's something I'll just kind of play around with, but yeah. So as I was saying, you'll go through this maintenance process. You can, set up your manager cluster. In my case, it's my standalone host. You will be able to do a static or DHCP for what you want the temporary password to be for, like when it deploys the temporary vCenter, to then migrate the data over and then destroy or power off. I don't think it destroys. That's the only process you want to verify the old one. If you do DHCP, you have to turn on, I think it's allow subnet masking or whatever in your BDS. But static could probably be best. So we what you got, and then once this is the temporary one down here, and then you could set up a kind of I think it's a test is what they call it, troubleshooting network. I cannot demo this. We're going to hopefully do another TAM Lab video where we can demo this in the future. But I do not have enough resources on my standalone or my NUCs to have all that. You'll see some of the messages kind of pop up that it failed. If you are on a network that you can get to your vCenter, you can click this and it'll take you straight to it. Since I'm already logged in, it's just going to allow me. It's going to open it just like another tab. Integrated services. This is something we'll do in the future as well, but vSphere provides integration with several cloud services that offer modern application development methods. Right. Cannot test that today, but you can go through and learn more here. So Tanzu services, right? ARIA automation free tier. So there's definitely some benefits to vSphere Plus. Supervisors, again, you set up a Tanzu mission control. You can register it here as well. Subscription, like I said, I don't have a way to demo that today. If you had multiple vCenters that had subscription-based licenses, you could see which vCenters have how much license, how much are they using, last collected date, and all that. Desired state configuration, this feature is only applicable for vSphere Plus, vSAN Plus, VCF Plus. There you go. And then you can go through and you could see all your VMs you have across. In this case, it's looking high level, so go through all of your vCenters. You could go through and create a VM this way. It's called Test 01. You can select your vCenter. In this case, I'm going to do mine. Select your data center that you want it on, my home lab, my vSAN cluster. You're going to do no template because I don't think, so this is good. So it finds your templates that you have. Right? So this is not content catalog templates. These are templates I have inside of vCenter. So let's just go back here. If you say no template, then it's going to ask you, what do you want it to be? Right. So I'm going to choose actually my server 22 standard. You know, some of those may be content catalogs. I have so many of them that I do have them in there. So vSAN data store is the only one I have for that cluster. Let's create the VM. Let's see what happens. So you're getting a prompt. This is the status. I want to see if it'll actually show here when it's creating it. Failed to authenticate user. So that means something I need to go through and test. That may have been just because I tried to register to another org. Let's actually go through that. Let's see what's going on here. So let's connect to the cloud gateway. I think I called W for witness. Didn't have to do that. 5480. I'll log in. Okay. Apologize if you can hear my kids. Change your password. Update automatically. So that's one reason why it took so long after deployment and you saw it installing packages. It actually updates the VMware cloud services actually updates these gateways, which is great. You don't have to worry about them. Kind of think of like the Skyline appliance in the same scenario, as long as it is enabled. So see what this enable hybrid management does. Okay. Type my password again. Says it's connected. So again, this is also a good scenario if you are phasing out a vCenter, you'd want to disconnect. So let's just go ahead and do this. I do not. Do I have to choose both? Yep. That's okay. Let's disconnect it. Let's see what happens. Failed to disconnect some vCenter servers. Try again. Okay. I kind of feel like maybe I'm having some cache issues. Let's see. And before I go and do this, I'm going to go look in the portal to see if it was actually deleted. So let's go to inventory. It still shows here. It shows it's unreachable. You can do invite users, create an SDC group. So that's something you can do as well. Add deployment just adds another kind of thing, like you're going through this whole process again. So if you need to download the gateway or download the latest gateway and view inventory from there. But let's go here and let's see if it will actually register. Okay. I acknowledge. Oh, head back. Okay, that's some stuff I'll have to play around with. But this is, again, this is some of my home lab. And okay. Well, at this point, I'm going to pause the video and stop it. Thank you for walking through with this, and we'll do a follow-up when all this is working, and maybe go into like the compliance maintenance and maybe in the integrated services and supervisors. Appreciate you for joining today. Thank you.